Shalom, shalom. Mishpacha v'chaverim. Sameach Hanukkah Yisrael. I know my camera looking real. The camera looking real grainy. That's because I'm on the laptop camera. I was using my camera yesterday. I was using my Logitech camera yesterday, the one that really sits in front of me. And today it just wants to have all these blurred colored lines. So guess what I gotta go do? I gotta go to the store, maybe after this, and get a new headset, which because you don't see my headset on, that broke last week too, right? And I'm going to have to get a new camera. So that means I have to spend some more money. Darn. I'm not trying to spend a whole lot of money, but you know what it is. All right, so thank you for those who are joining now. Thank you for those who are joining later. I'm probably going to have my avatar on for the majority of the time when I present the lesson, but hope y'all having a good and blessed night so far. Hope your day was good. Hope everything went your way. Hope your night is better than mine, seeing that my equipment is not working. I hope everything's working for you in your home, right? Um, so let's see here. All right. Let me check on some things. Let me check on some things real quick. Let's check on some things. Let's check how I look on let's check how I look on YouTube and then we'll get started. Then we'll get started. All right. So, this is called Idioms and Euphemisms in the Bible. Um, this is another portion of Torah, Tittles of the text. And I said I was going to go through the Torah and go through things that I start to see in Hebrew while I was reading the Hebrew and see how we may be looking at them different when we see the translations, the English translations of different translations of the Bible, right? So um, I wanted to do this. Cool. I wanted to do this. I haven't done a Torah tittles of the text in a while. And so we're going to go to the prophets. We're going to check out some things in the prophets. But first, I'm going to read an article I found very interesting. So um, I know I actually read through the whole Torah: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, or Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Davrim. I've read all of that in biblical Hebrew all the way through. And people's like, man, what do you see? What differences do you see? Yada yada. And I'm like, okay, I'll share with you guys some of the things I come across. However, this is something I read a while ago, and this is something I did a video on a while ago. And that video that I did a few years back on what I'm going to talk about now, it was grainy because the internet service was just it was shot. It was shot that day. I actually had to get Xfinity to come out, and so I wanted to do this when it's crystal crispy clear. So I'm really not going to have the video on me too much, right? I'm going to be showing you some things here. So let me get this ready here. So give people some more time to get on. I'm going to get something ready. I actually have to download something else. Um, that I meant to get to as well, because I want to show a PDF I put together of some screenshots, So the screenshots are gonna give a better visual so that you all can go back and um, check out the words and the definitions and do more in-depth study on your own, right? So okay, that's my husband always supporting. That's tight. That's dope. That's dope. Okay, so showing the folder. We're gonna open this up with that. That's what we're gonna do. Cool. All right. See, and I wanted to do this a while ago. I wanted to do this lesson a while ago, and I couldn't. I had to get another. I had to get another laptop. It was crazy. I had to get a whole another laptop, and thanks to my babe for helping me out with that. He came through clutch and clutch. You know. Oh my goodness, he came through clutch. Woo! Shalom. Shalom, sis. Shalom. All right. So, with that being said, let's get into this. So, I want to read. Shalom. Shalom, Brother Jermaine. Shalom. You here for the learning? Hey, I'm here for the learning too. Every time I present something, I'm learning something myself, right? So, and I'm learning that when it rains, it pours. You know, what's that? What's that? I'm not Lamar from I'm not Lamar from BMF. However, I like loose ends, you know, the group, and I've been playing that song, you know, when it rains it pours, because what's that song? You can't stop the rain when it starts to pour. Man, you can't stop the rain when it starts to pour. When it rains and pours, my headset went out, my camera went out. I was using my camera yesterday. Like, oh my God. All right, so with that being said, let me let me share the screen of what I want to share here. Hustle and motivation, absolutely. Shalom, brother Mark. Shalom. All right, so I'm gonna read to y'all something, and like the preacher saying church, I won't hold y'all too long. All right, so let's share the screen. This has to be screen number 2. All right, so let's minimize that. All right, so I'm gonna make this screen a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make the screen bigger. Actually, let me not. Wow, which one is it? Which one is it? Okay, actually, let's just move this over here. Let's move that. All right, so I want to be able to still see the comments when you guys are commenting here. Let me make the screen bigger. So there was something I thought was funny that one of my peoples I grew up in church with shared a little while back, and they were talking about Jesus. And a lot of us know him as Yeshua. Some of us know him as Yeshua, Jesus, right? Messiah. Uh, they were saying something of a description about him in the text, and they were like, "Well, that's what it literally says." They were like, "That's what it literally says," and I was like, "I know something's literal in the text. However, can we always take something literal when it's written that way? Like euphemisms and idioms, we have them in the English vernacular, right? We have phrases like, "Oh, the directions to the store, I could follow these. Those are a piece of cake," or "Stop beating around the bush," or "I'm in a jam, I'm in a pickle," or "Oh, I gotta kill 2 birds with 1 stone." Can you guys think of any idioms and phrases that you may think of? I know Sister Alicia on the post when I was sharing, Sister Alicia on the post when I was sharing this, she was like, the pot can't speak because you know there's a phrase that says that's like the pot calling the kettle black and stuff like that. You know, you see these things and you're like, they can't be taken literally. You know, so a lot of the times when people read the Bible, they think they got to take everything literally. And it's good to understand that just like in our English vernacular, we have a culture, we have slang that us who grew up in this area or different neighborhoods or whatever, we know what that terminology means. We know what that phrase or figure of speech means because we've been around and we understand and we know. Two shakes of a lamb's tail. Real. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Mona. That's one. Shalom, Sister Wendy. Thanks for tuning in. He kicked the bucket. Right. He kicked the bucket, meaning, right, he died. Or either sometimes we say when somebody died, we say, oh, they passed. Like, and Brother Jermaine said, you talking about my man's down the way, right? My man's like your friend, your boy, right? Um, like back in the day, we talk about somebody's friend being an ace boon coon, right? That's an idiom or a phrase, right? Um, Euphemisms. Euphemisms are more so softer words that substitute for others, you know, because the other exact word may be too harsh to say, right? So we're gonna talk about these. So let me read this article here. This is an article I found. It's called Spirit and Truth Online.org. Um, / figures of speech euphemismos substitution, right? And it's got a whole bunch of letters here. Let me see if I can copy this and paste this in the comment section here. That's the website I'm gonna read. So figures of speech euphemismos substitution, right? So let me just get into this thing so I won't be all night. So, and hopefully you guys can see this. If you can't, let me know by giving me a one. Tap a one in the comment section if the lettering or the wording on the website is too small. Let me know. If it okay, no ones, that means it's not too small. Cool. Let me read. We got to get through this. We're gonna get through some more stuff. All right. The ability to communicate with words is one thing that sets mankind apart from all other creatures. God is the author of language, and no one has ever used language as precisely as God does in the Bible, including his use of figures of speech, of which there are more than 200 varieties in Scripture. There's probably more, right? When most people say a figure of speech, they are speaking in general terms of something that is not true to fact. However, genuine figures of speech are legitimate grammatical and lexical forms that add emphasis and feeling to what we say and write. In the Bible, God uses figures of speech to emphasize things that he wants us to see as important. Many people who read the Bible never think to ask themselves, how do we know what God wants emphasized in his word? God uses figures of speech to put emphasis where he wants emphasis. So it is important that we recognize and properly interpret the figures of speech in the Bible. Let me scooch up a little bit. Knowing the figures of speech God uses in the Bible helps us to understand the true meaning of Scripture and enables us to more fully enjoy its richness. Right? All right. The figure of speech we are going to study in this article is euphemismus, right? And this is, I'm not going to read this. Right? I don't know how to pronounce it, but let me go on. From which we get our English word euphemism, right? The root of the Greek word eu, meaning good, and phemi, meaning speech. Did y'all know that? It's tight, right? Tight. So, the verb euphemio and the noun euphemismos refer to good speech, and the range of meanings those words had in ancient Greece was very broad. Uses included using words that were good omens, shouts of triumph, speaking well of or praising someone, and prayer and praise offered to the gods. More along the lines of the English definition of euphemism, other ancient Greek meanings of the words were to abstain from inauspicious words and to speak in a mild, soft manner. All right. When I read this, this was good. I was like, whoever put this article together, man, kudos to them, right? Kudos. All right. The modern definition of euphemism is the substitution of an agreeable or inoffensive expression for one that may offend or suggest something unpleasant. Now, I was going to do some euphemism talk about Leviticus 18 and 18 and Genesis 24 and 2, but I'm not going to do that because it was too controversial. Maybe I'll touch on it later. Who knows? But I wanted to keep things simple tonight. All right, so thus, if we do not want to say someone died, we say he passed or passed away. I mentioned that a minute ago, right? If we do not want to say two people engaged in sexual intercourse, we say they slept together, right? You getting this? If we do not want to say a couple is committing adultery, we say they are having an affair, right? See? Okay, so go up a little bit. The difference between a true euphemism and an idiom can be very subtle, and often the definitions overlap. An idiom is a figure of speech in which the use of a word or words is peculiar to itself in that it has a meaning that usually cannot be derived from the literal meaning of the word or words. Idioms have to be individually learned because the meaning of the words is not literal, but assigned by the culture. While most euphemisms are idioms, many idioms are not euphemisms. Get that? That is because many idioms are hard, harsh, cold-hearted, and cynical. In contrast, true euphemisms are an agreeable and inoffensive way to refer to something or a way to refer to a subject by suggestion instead of by direct address. This is a little softer, right? Right. Okay. For example, let me see. If we are speaking with someone whose loved one has died, they already said this, we could say the loved one passed away, right, to soften the reality of the situation, but we cannot use some of the common idioms such as kick the bucket, and that's what Sister Mona said, right? Bought the farm, that's a new one to me, bought the farm. Assumed room temperature, that's a new one to me as well. Or cashed in their chips and get the same effect. Y'all see what's going on here? Right? This is tight. We're going to take a look at some of these examples here. Right? Because euphemisms, by their very nature, deal with difficult, delicate, or potentially embarrassing situations, it is natural that the preponderance of euphemisms has to do with death, sex, and going to the bathroom, which is itself a euphemism for urinating or defecating. Did y'all understand that? That's crazy, right? I didn't realize that was considered a euphemism. I'm going to the bathroom, you know. I know there was a movie, what was it? Menace to Society, where dude was like, man, you over here praying to that porcelain god. And that meant that dude was on his knees throwing up in the toilet, you know? And we come up with so much phraseology, figures of speech, and slang is funny to me, and it's pretty cool, right? So writing about euphemisms is a delicate task because the subjects need to be handled clearly but graciously. So now we're going to look at a few, right? And some of you all probably knew about a couple of these idioms I'm going to be bringing up, but one of them, like I said, I'm going to get into a little more in depth. So Genesis 15 and 15. You, however, will go to your fathers in peace and be buried at a good old age. So that's meaning God told Abraham he would go to his fathers, a clear euphemism for dying. I know some people have a different doctrinal understanding about what it means to go to your fathers. I'm not trying to be controversial here, just bringing up the fact that it's good to pause when you're studying the text and think about if the phraseology you're looking at is a euphemism or an idiom, right? Right. Leviticus 18:6. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. Right? So I talked a bit about this before in our cultural studies group, and I was talking about, and I actually delved into the Hebrew critically and said this is a euphemism, right? So I definitely understood this is a euphemism. So uncover their nakedness is commonly used in the Old Testament instead of more graphically discussing sexual intercourse, right? Judges chapter 3 verse 24. When he, Ehud, was gone out, the king's servants came. And when they saw that, behold, the doors of the parlor were locked, they said, surely he covereth his feet in his summer chamber. Covers his feet is a euphemism for defecating, because in squatting down, the body and clothes covered the feet. Many translators feel that covers his feet is too unclear for the modern reader, so many modern versions read relieving himself, which is an English euphemism for what the king was doing. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. I know my husband is going to take a likening to the passage I just read. I don't know if he catches this, but I definitely understood this is a euphemism, and I understand why. And I hope he already understood why this is used for what it's used for. Um, this is awesome. So watch this. This verse is about old age and some of the less pleasant things that happen. Aged people are more typically afraid of falling, right? Y'all know about that, right? Thus afraid of that which is high. The almond tree bloomed brilliant white. Thus, the statement about the almond tree flourishing is a euphemism about the white hair that comes with old age. Definitely, I got some up here. You probably can't see it. But the more of an age I done got, whoa boy, the white hair started creeping on out. You know what I'm talking about? Oh. Also, the word desire in the phrase desire shall fail is a euphemism, but one that is more complex than it seems. The literal Hebrew is the caper berry fails or is broken. Understanding the euphemism requires knowing that the caper berry was considered by the ancient Hebrews to be an aphrodisiac, increasing sexual desire. For the caperberry to fail meant that one's sexual desire was gone and could not even be regained by stimulation. I wonder if this has something to do with I wonder if that was the mandrakes. Maybe not. I don't know, right? Isaiah chapter 7, verse 20. In the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. The hair of the feet is a euphemism for the pubic hair. Did y'all know that? Yo, did y'all know that? Because I know y'all looking at like, yeah, I do got hair on my toes, but not hair on my feet, right? You look down like, you know, if y'all correctly taking care of yourself, right? You see your toes, but hair of the feet, euphemism for pubic hair, right? Some modern translations wrongly have hair of the legs instead of hair of the feet. And miss the euphemism. See, you got to understand the culture to understand the euphemisms. And this is what we're trying to get back to. This is another significant, vital piece of studying the text, the culture, to get back to as much of the ancient path and way that we can. That's that's applicable during this time and geographical location that we're in, right? Right. I hope y'all enjoying this so far. I haven't even got the good part yet. All right, so the Assyrians were among the most ruthless and cruel of the ancient warriors, and Israel had abandoned Yahweh's protection. So Israel was subjected to the most horrific circumstances, including being shaved by their captors. Similar euphemisms regarding feet occur in 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 27, and Isaiah chapter 36, verse 12, where the Hebrew words water of the feet mean urine. Also, Ezekiel 16 and 25 of the Hebrew text says that Jerusalem spread wide her feet to everyone who passed by, an idiom for having sexual intercourse with them, which itself was idiomatic for entering into covenants with the foreigners and foreign gods. You know? Shalom, Brother DeMille. Shalom, Brother Isaiah. What website am I referencing? I put it in the chat. It's called spiritandtruthonline.org. I put it in the chat, Brother DeMille, so you can go back and have this for your reference, right? Hey, when I came across this, I was like, I didn't even know this website existed. So, Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 7. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou wast naked and bare. Okay, what do that mean? Right? Sexual references are difficult to express delicately, and this verse is a great example. The Hebrew reads that the woman, Jerusalem, okay, had come to the ornament of ornaments, which the context reveals is her breast. Interestingly, some versions shy away from the idea that the breast is an ornament and translate the verse to say that the woman herself is the ornament. Thus, the Holman Christian Standard Bible says the woman became very beautiful. The NIV says she became the most beautiful of jewels. And the NRSV says she arrived at full womanhood. Other versions recognize that the subject of the sentence is not the woman herself, but her ornaments, but avoid being too explicit. Thus, the ESV says the woman arrived at full adornment, while the NASB says she reached the age for fine ornaments. All right. Let me take a shit. Just one more shit. That's what I was saying the other night when I was having me a little alcoholic beverage. I was like, man, I got to get up. And I said, I can just do one more sip. And I did get up. I did get up when I was supposed to, but I thought that was funny. I had myself weak. I was like, man, Shan-t. All right. John chapter 11, verse 11. After he had said this, he went on to tell them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up. The word sleep is a common biblical euphemism for death, and I believe that's more well known of the euphemisms we go about reading in the text. Correct? Correct. Now, this book right here in the endnotes, I went to the Scribd, the Scribd app, SCRIBD app that I have. I paid a subscription for. It's in there, and I'm going to check it out. It's by E.W. Bullinger. It's called Figures of Speech Used in the Bible. That right there is a jewel. A jewel. If you have access to the script D, or even if you want, I think it's in PDF form. If it's in PDF form, I can send it to y'all. Just here's my email. I put my email in the chat too, in the description box. Excuse me, Saliha, and that's my email. I put my email in the description box. I'll put it up there again. So if I can find this figures of speech used in the Bible book in PDF format, if you guys want it, send me an email and I'll try to get that to you. Okay. All right. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about Isaiah chapter 3. Now, Isaiah chapter 3 is used. I gotta fall my R's on this one because this be blowing my mind. Some people say, well, the reason that America or society is the way they are is because women are out of order and out of place, and here goes the gender wars again. You know, women blaming men, men blaming women, so on and so forth. And I was like, okay, they go to these translations, mainly the KJV, right? But like the women are ruling and the children are set over us. That's the problem. The women are ruling. They out of place. We need to get them back in line. They ain't got no business talking. And then some people have a problem with me doing what I'm doing right now. And I have plenty of videos on that, right? So stating my case that what I'm doing is definitely not against written Torah at all. So with that, I was like, well, they go to the translation, Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, right? And so when I started looking into the biblical Hebrew, you know, I like to dive into the biblical Hebrew as much as I can to get the sincere, pure essence of what the actual definitions meant back in that time frame, back in that geographical location, back in that culture. Because this text, you know, a lot of it was written, you know, 3,000 years ago, right? And what things mean over here in America is not what they mean over in the Mediterranean, right? My dog is trying to get in the room. This is funny. Can't get in, sir. Can't get in, sir. Oh, you said Mr. Blacktastic. Oh, what up? Shalom More. David. Shalom More, David. That's the More right there. Got the, you know, put me in my place, right? Mr. Blacktastic or Brother Isaiah says that passage in Isaiah is actually an indictment of the men being out of place. The women and children are there because the men aren't where they're supposed to be. Well, I'm gonna show you something different. I'm gonna show you something different. Maybe another angle. Maybe looking at this from another angle, Brother Isaiah, Mr. Blacktastic, will shed some light on what's going on here, right? So this passage had to be given to Isaiah about 8th century BCE, and we know that, well, the 8th or 9th century BCE, and we know the southern tribe of the Yehudim or the Jews went into Babylonian captivity during what, the 5th or 6th century BCE, correct? So this is a prophecy that actually talks about the whole of Israel. We're gonna see something, because remember, the daughters of Zion or Jerusalem is actually called a her, and that her is Israel, actually. So that her is Israel, and we, Israel, those who wrestle, strive, prevail, and reign with the Most High Yod He Wah He, right? We are looked at as the wife or the bride who took on the covenant, right, at Mount Sinai, right? So, with that being said, when Israel is talked about, we are talked about as this woman, so to speak, a lot of times. In a lot of that is not caught, you know. So this is something I'm going to show y'all. This is idiom and euphemism that I've seen, and we're going to bring out the Septuagint to show that the 70 elders who translated understood what was going on in the text of the Hebrew and actually did a good thing at that point when they were translating the Hebrew to the Greek, right? Sometimes they're not always, sometimes you don't always have a Greek word to explain a Hebraism, right? But this one was clear to me. So, and Brother David probably already see what's going on here and know what's going on here, because Brother David, Brother D. Glenn Royal here is very fluent in the biblical Hebrew and the Israeli Hebrew. Israeli Hebrew is not Yiddish. I want to say that. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go to Isaiah 3, verse 12. Let's go to the KJV version of it, right? Isaiah 3, verse 12. It reads, As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. Now see, when the part that says the women rule over them, right? This is the part where some of the guys, they're like, they go to this verse and this is what they try to use to shut women like me up, or try to say we're ruling the world and that's why the world is corrupt. Like, okay. Woo! That's funny. But anyway. So I was like, is this for real? So I said, okay, let's go to it. No problem. So I went to the Hebrew. Right? Isaiah 3 and 12. I went to the Hebrew. Let's highlight it in blue, right? It says Ami Noksav Meolel Wenashim Mashlu Bo Ami Measrecha Matim Wedarek Orchotecha Beleu. Now, that is my people. My people, his oppressors, pretty much, what is that? Meolel, allow. You know what that is? Okay, so pretty much that's treat you ill, right? His oppressors treat them ill, right? However, it's translated as babes. So in the KJV, it's translated as babes or children. So Ami, Noksav, my people, his oppressors, it's and Meolel is translated as babes. However, it's actually treat you ill. It's mistreat you, treat you ill. And we're gonna see that. Right? When Nashim, Mashlu, and the women, Mashlu, they rule over. They rule, they rule both. You and you. Right? So I was like, okay. I'm gonna show y'all what I was actually reading when I read this passage. I'm gonna scooch this over right here. Let's make this bigger. I was actually reading the Biblia Hebraica Stucartensia when I came across this, right? And there's a way to understand all these markings and what looks like chicken scratch to most of us, right? So you see where I have this little black dot here? We're going to look at that word. But this is verse 12 of Isaiah chapter 3. Verse 12 of Isaiah chapter 3, right? Ami Noksav Meolel Nashim Mashlu Bo Ami Measrecha Matin Wedarek Orchotecha Beleu. Right? So my people, his oppressors, are babes. That's what it's translated, right? When Nashim and the women, Mashlu, they rule, Bo and you, right? Or over you, right? Okay, so watch this. So you see this little circle. Let's make it bigger. What's this? 174, 200. This is this little dot circle. Those things mean something. But we're gonna look at this letter C. There's a letter C next to this mem sofit. So right here, this word is we nashim. And that would be and with the conjunction wa, and then nashim would be women, right? If you said nashim, it would be women. Noon with the comments, shin with the chirek yod, and the mem sofit, nashim. Shalom, shalom, Vaughn. Shalom. All right, so you see that C? It's the letter C. That letter C lets you know to go to the textual variants, right? The textual variants are down below of the book of the Biblia Hebraica Stukartensia, right? Over here you have the what is it? The Masorah. What is it? The Masorah Parva. You have Masorah Parva. You have Masorah Magna. Let me see. So the Masorah Parva is to the right, and the Masorah Magna, the register. See, this is the Masorah Parva here, and then what's down below these numbers, I'm circling right here, these little numbers that say MM. That's called the Masorah Magna. It's the register, right? Now we're going to look at this part down here, right? The C to the left of the word Nashim. We're going to look for this down here. This is called the Textual Apparatus. This is where you see, this is where it lists textual variants of different manuscripts, what they have, right? So if there's a manuscript from the from the Leningrad Codex that has a different rendering or spelling or something, then it notates it here, right? The Textual Apparatus. So verse 12 for Isaiah chapter 3, I came down here to look for C, the notation for C. I put a big black marking next to the letter C, right? And so pretty much it's saying these are the Greek lettering, right? K oi apetuntis, right? K oi apetuntis. We're gonna see what that means in a minute, right? This is the part. This is the part that I get excited about, right? Okay. So for Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, scroll back up to it. Nashim, it has the letter C. We went down to the apparatus. So women, so that word is women. And then C, the reference in the Septuagint, it says it's actually K oi apetuntes. Now, I know right off the bat, if anyone understands the difference between what I just said, Nashim and apetuntes, Nashim is women. And if we wanted to say women in Greek, that would be gunekis. It would be gunekis. Now, this word apetuntes does not sound like gunekis. It does not sound like women. Hint, hint. Now, scroll, moving over to the right a little bit. I'm circling a word. Let me make this bigger. And I love this computer here. Why? Because I get to do what I need to do without any hiccup. See this word right here I'm circling? It's a wav, it's a noon, it's a shin, it's a yo, and it's a mem sofit. However, the pronunciation of this word is different. Up above in Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, I said nashim, right? This word right here, the textual apparatus says, wait noshim. Oh, wait noshim. I'm going somewhere with this. This is getting good to me. All right. So it says noshim. When noshim. So I was like, no sheen. What is no sheen? So I looked it up. And it would be, what is it? Let me see. H5383. No sheen. H5383. Now I don't have it here. I don't have it pictured here. However, we're gonna see something in a minute. Right? So I was like, no sheen. H5383. Is that a real word? Is it used anywhere else? And I was like, can I find it anywhere else? Then I was like, oh yeah, it is there. 5383. So guess where I found it at? I was like, is this a real word? What does it mean if it's a real word? I found it over in Nehemiah. If I can get rid of this. Oh, you know what? Come on. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I had it zoomed out to 250. Why can't I get rid of that? Okay, hold on, hiccup. This is what we gonna do. The good thing about computers. All right. So, Nehemiah. Well, no, let's decrease that a little bit. Okay, Nehemiah chapter 5, verse 10. I found that word. Noshim, right? Wegam ani achai uneari, excuse me, unearai, and my servants Noshim Bahem Kesef. Oh, let's move this over because I can't barely see that. Okay. Bahem Kesef we Dagan. Na Azava. Excuse me. Na Azvana et Hamasa Haze. Okay. So right off the bat, I know y'all see the translation right underneath. Sometimes the translation is not always there. But this word noshim, when you say noshim, noon, shin, yod, mem, sofit, it has lending there. Lending. So you know what that means? The word, it does mean lending, but H5383, it means to lend or be a creditor. See, if you go back to 5383 in your concordance, what does it say? To lend, become a creditor. Y'all see where Isaiah 3 and 12 is about to go. Right? Shalom, Brother Sean. Shalom. Oh, Vaughn. Thank you, Vaughn. Todah. Good presentations and details of scripture. Stay on the. Thank you. Todah. I hope to. So, be a creditor. No sheen. So, back over here in Isaiah 3 in 12, there's a textual variant here. It says what? I mean no sav meolel we no sheen. So that will be what? Lenders or creditors? Oh my goodness, lenders and creditors. Okay. What about this meolel too? What about this meolel? So meolel, this word right here, meolel, B. Right? B. Verse 12b. Let's go down to the apparatus for verse 12 and go to B. And it has a variant here. It says olelu. Right? Now watch this. That word H5768, that means, what did I say? To treat you ill. To have ill treatment towards you, to do you dirty. Pretty much. Right? To do you dirty. That's what it means. But in the Hebrew here, it says a child or a babe. Right? It says a child or a babe. It says it comes from H5763, to give suck or suckle. Right? But watch this. We're going to see something about how the Greek translates this text. Right? Right. And I'm almost done because I said I wouldn't keep y'all long. Right? Mr. Black Tacit said he watching from room to room. Shalom, Kedrick. Shalom, shalom. All right, so let's go back to where we were. So Nehemiah chapter 5, verse 10, you see no sheen. No sheen means lending. So this is why it's very important to understand there are more than one class of vowel in the Hebrew language. When somebody want to say there's only the ah sound in Hebrew and then the I at the end when you see an I in, oh my gosh, I hope y'all go back and study this stuff. Grammar is important. This is why I'm doing this. Idioms, euphemism, metaphors, phrases, figures of speech is important to know, right? So nun, shin, yod, mem, sophi. It's spelled right. Nun, shin, yod, mem, sophi. If you say nashin, it's women. If you say no sheen, it means creditor or lender, right? Shalom, Brother Orthodox more. Yes. Hey, I said I was going to get on Debate Talk for You more. So yeah, I did forget to say this. I'm streaming live on my Facebook, which is Shan-t DoC. I'm also streaming on my YouTube, which is 916 Shan, and I'm also streaming on Debate Talk for You YouTube platform. So yes, I'm a member of the Debate Talk for You platform, and Brother Orthodox Moore there is one of the hosts on the platform. Yes, it's good to be streaming here, Brother Orthodox. So no sheen means lender or creditor. Nasheen means women. Right? So watch this about this verse in Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12 in the Greek. So bear with me. I'm more better at the Hebrew than the Greek, but bear with me. All right. So let's see. So it says, Laosmu, oi practores himon, calonte himas. Que oi apetuntes. Remember this word remember this phrase that was at the bottom of the Biblia Hebraicus through Cartensia? Well, it was telling you that in the Septuagint, this is what it has for verse 12 when it said Nashim. Right? So, que oi apetuntes curiosun himon. Laos mu. Oi macarizontis himas planosin himas que ton tribun ton podon himon tarasusin. All right. So let me say what this means here. Let me say what this means. Laos mu. Mu is mine. Laos is people. My people. Oi practores himon calonte. Oi is the ones. Practores is oppressing your oppressors. So himon is your, and then practores is oppressors. So your oppressors, calonte himas is you, right? Calonte. That is glean. So that would be the word meolel in the Hebrew that was translated babes. But remember, I said it means treat you ill. Right? Treat you ill. Let's pull up something here. Let's go back over here. Let's look up where calonte comes from. So this is the word proctor. What I'm showing you right now is a screenshot of what's called the Intermediate Greek English Lexicon, Liddell and Scott's Greek English Lexicon. It gives you pretty much Greek definitions from the time of 1000 BCE up to 600 CE. So I use that dictionary to give me the precise definitions of New Testament words. All right, so proctor came, that was what, proctores, when I said when oppressors, right? But it also means this. Watch. It says one who does or executes, an accomplisher, right? And it also says one who exacts payment, a tax gatherer. Woo! One who exacts punishment, a punisher, avenger. All right? All right. So the other word I wanted you to look at was kalonte. Kalonte, it comes from this word kakosis, right? Comes from this word kakosis, ill treatment. Got it highlighted in pink. Ill treatment, right? A distressing, harassing of the crews. An action for ill usage or neglect of parents, right? So also damage, misfortune. Damage, misfortune, ill treatment. And this word goes back to kakosis, goes back to kakol. Kakol. To treat ill, maltreat, afflict, distress. Be in ill plight, be distressed. Of things to spoil, ruin. Right? So, with that being said, Mr. Blacktastic, Isaiah, you crazy. I shouldn't be on here unless I'm busting I'm busting the freestyle. Hey, I'm gonna close out with the priestly ironic blessing, but you know how that go. All right, so let me hurry up with this. So in the Greek, kalonte, right, is what? Ill treatment, maltreating. Right? Maltreating, treating you ill, afflicting you. Right? This phrase right here, ke oi apetuntis. Right? Let's look at what apetuntis means. This word right here. Right? Apetuntis. Let's scoosh this back over here. Apetuntis. It comes from the word apeteo. Got it highlighted in pink here, right? To demand back. Demand. All right? To be demanded, like some passive, in the passive, it's to be demanded in payment. So in the Hebrew, it's more so in the Hebrew, Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, I'm saying more so idiom. Idiom in that phrase. Not to be taken literally that the women is ruling and that the children are oppressing. That's what I'm getting at here, but we're gonna close in on this, right? So it says, and pretty much ke oi apetuntis, so the ones demanding, right? The ones demanding what? Some sort of payment. That's kuriosin, lord over you. Oh my goodness. Right? Laos Mo, my people. The ones declaring you blessed. Who's the ones that's declaring you blessed? Pretty much your leaders. The ones that's declaring the ones that's declaring you blessed. Right? Astray, they lead you. Right? Keton to the bone. And the paths and the paths or tracks of your feet, pardon, of your feet. What do? Tarasusin. They pretty much agitate. Well, something agitated, you not walking straight, right? I know when y'all feet hurt and agitated, y'all ain't walking straight, right? Right? So, what is this verse saying? Well, let's do this. Let's just go here to the actual Brenton's translation of the Septuagint, what I just read, right? Just to make it easier for everyone, right? Oh, my people, your exactors strip you, and extortioners rule over you. Oh, my people, they that pronounce you blessed lead you astray and pervert the path of your feet. So in the Hebrew, what would it be? Same, pretty much same thing. Let me just make this bigger here. The Hebrew, uh, verse 12. What he's saying? I mean, my people, no scythe. His oppressors, Meolel. They treat you ill. They pretty much exact from you. They lend. They lend. They charge you interest. What does a creditor do? Charge you interest. Boy, oh boy, right? With no sheen. With no sheen. With no sheen. Lenders, creditors, right? So no shy oppressors, right? Your oppressors. They demanded something back from you. They're sucking you up, treating you ill, right? Meolel, treating you ill. With no sheen. The lenders, the creditors, what are they doing? They're ruling over you. They're exacting from you. They're demanding that you what? Repay. I mean, my people. Measrecha. Your instructors, your leaders, right? Matim. Matim, they cause you to err. They cause you to err. Error. Go in error. Way direct. And the and the path, right? And the path or track, orchotecha of your road, of your way, beleu. They suck you up, destroy you. They suck you up, destroy you. Right? Payday loaners. Moray D. Glenn, Moray David, right? See, the Most High is talking to Israel here. And I'm going to tell you what's going on. Matter of fact, not just tell you, just show you. Let's go to Brenton's. Watch this. Why was the Most High upset with the people? Why did the Most High say verse 12? Let's continue to read. Verse 13, 14, and 15. But now the Lord will stand up for judgment and will enter into judgment with his people. His people. See, it ain't just the men being talked to, it's the women being talked to. Everybody as a collective of Israel, right? Verse 14, the Lord himself shall enter into judgment with the elders of the people and with their rulers. But why have ye set my vineyard on fire? Who's the vineyard? Isaiah chapter 5 will tell you who the vineyard is. The vineyard is Israel, the people. Right? Huh? Why have you set my vineyard on fire? Another euphemism, right? Metaphors. Huh? And why is the spoil of the poor in your houses? What's the spoil of the poor? The things people need to sustain themselves in life, to eat. Suck you up, swallow you up. Exactly. Suck you up, swallow you up. More David. Better said there. Okay. Yep. Okay. Better there. Okay. Okay. Beleo, swallow you up. Devour you. Right? That's what these leaders are doing. Right? The spoil of the poor. Why is the spoil of the poor in your houses? Verse 15, why do ye wrong my people and shame the face of the poor? This is, now see, a lot of people want to break up Isaiah chapter 3 and chapter 4. It's really not a broken up passage. It goes together. Verse 16, I know some people want to say it's about polygyny. However, if reading in context, you just read Isaiah chapter 3 before and see what's going on. Remember when I said the daughters of Zion is a reference to the collective of Israel. Because why? We are that bride who took on the covenant at Mount Sinai. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to come for you, Shan-t. But we're heading home right here. Verse 16, thus said the Lord, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and have walked with an outstretched neck and with winking of the eyes and motion of the feet, at the same time drawing their garments in trains, and at the same time sporting with their feet, therefore the Lord will humble the chief daughters of Zion. Oh, the chief daughters of Zion. And the Lord will expose their form in that day. I'm not going to continue to read because we see what's going on. The Lord, the Most High, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, Yahweh is going to judge the people. Why? Because they're doing the people wrong, shamefacing the poor, setting Israel on fire, not leading us to where we should be going, not keeping us on the straight and narrow path. This is not about the women ruling and the children oppressing. This is called classical idiom and euphemism in the Bible. That's why I wanted to bring this up. That's why I read the article before about idioms and euphemisms in the Bible. Everything that we see in the Bible cannot be taken literally. It benefits us to simmer down a little bit and understand this is a different culture, different time frame. They had slang back then just like we do. We have figures of speech. They had figures of speech. Right? So, when somebody tries to use Isaiah chapter 3 and try to say, oh, our problem over here, why we can't get right in society is because the women are ruling, ask them to explain, break it down in the Hebrew, why that is. If they can't, I don't know. The KJV did its best with certain translations of words. However, sometimes we can't really translate idiom, euphemism, figures of speech. You would just need to actually practice, study, and learn up on the culture. That's what I would say. All right. So, I kept y'all long enough. I kept y'all 10 minutes over what I wanted to, right? So it says, my people, your oppressors, your exactors mistreat you, and the lenders and the creditors, they rule over you. My people, your leaders, called you to err, and your tracks, your paths. I mean, the tracks or roads of your path. I mean, they swallow up. They swallow up. Swallowing you up. You know how it is when you don't have your pay, your wages, when you work 40 hours a week? That's likened to murder. There's a passage in the Apocrypha that talks about not paying a person their wages is likened to murder. Because if you don't work, you don't eat. Correct? The Most High is saying, hey, I'm going to render judgment. I'm going to render judgment. Now I'm going to come in your wallets. I'm going to come in your Michael Kors, right? I'm going to come in your Birkin bags. And I'm taking what's rightfully supposed to be dispersed to the people. Right? So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Man, this is awesomely crazy. This is awesomely crazy. I wanted to do this a few weeks ago. However, just a reminder that when we're reading the text and we're talking about we want to be like the ancients, understand the ancients had their own vernacular, they had their own vocabulary, they had their own slang, terminology, and all that good stuff, right? They had all of that. And it's for us to understand that they had all of that. And it's good not to look at this text anachronistically and put our time frame of and meanings of things back onto those words and those people. It, our culture had nothing to do with theirs. And when we say we really want to live this culture, that's something to reflect and do some introspection on, to see if we really want to live this culture, this Hebraic culture. There's a lot of things in this Hebraic culture that we, being primarily raised in America, probably would not like. Right? So with that being said, I love y'all. I love y'all with the love of the Most High. Chanukah Sameach, L'Kol Israel, to all who are celebrating. I'm about to go light my Hanukkah. Me and my husband, we're gonna light the Hanukkah. We were excited for after Shabbat. After Shabbat, we're gonna have our Hanukkah party. So I'm excited. And so I decorated the house. Actually, decorated the garage and the house. Looks really cool. That's the fun part. And getting together with family and friends, and partaking in what happened with our ancestors, to cleanse the temple and rededicate the temple and the altar, and to continue as a people to fight assimilation as much as possible, right? All assimilation is not bad. However, there's some assimilation we're not supposed to be getting into, because we took on the covenant of the Most High Yahweh, especially for those who believe in Yeshua, correct? So, with that being said, love y'all with the love of the Most High. Shalom, shalom, wa berachot, mishpacha, wa habarim. I want to close out with the priestly Aaronic blessing. Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. All right? Yavarecha Yahweh v'rishmenecha. Ya'er Yahweh panav elecha v'chunika. Yisa Yahweh panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine on you and show you favor. May Yahweh lift up his face towards you and give you peace, shalom, wellness, wholeness, completeness. All right? Laila Tov, Mishpah. Hey, hold on. I got to say this. Nephew Chris, I love you. I love you. Thank you for watching, listening. I hope this helps you, man of God, because I know you a man of God. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody's words get to you. You press forward toward the mark for your calling, because you do have a calling. All right? That's from me to you. Don't worry about what nobody else doing. The Most High got you. God got you. Hey, don't look to the left or to the right. Don't get distracted. Stay on the straight and narrow path, and you're going to be all right. There's bigger and better things for you to come in this walk. All right? I love you. All right. Shalom, Brother Micah, Paul, Chag Sameach Chanukah, and everyone else who watched and listened. I hope this edified. I hope this was entertaining as well. You know what I mean? But y'all have a good and blessed night. All right. Shalom, shalom.